Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Next in Time podcast. I'm your host, ST, and today our guest is none other than Sako M, who is the founder and CEO of GOUP. He is someone who's looking to revolutionize open source code and build a community of open source developers. So Sako, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're able to, get up on a Saturday morning to be able to come on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Well, I presume you were just so busy. I think before we started talking, you were busy with a lot of things that happened this week that you kind of overslept and missed out on missed out on previous recording.
Uh yeah, this week particularly was one of the busiest. We had back-to-back events, and before holidays we were trying to catch the momentum,
Yeah.
and the disruption was going around GPT and bringing folks together to talk about. So it took some effort. So
What
definitely
does
was
GPT mean?
generative processing. I think this is the one OpenAI introduced. Let me actually look for acronym, but it's more around AGI, artificial generative intelligence.
Yeah.
So basically, it's talking like human language, understand, and you ask the question, and you can get any type of code. And
Like you need like an AI bot that talks.
yeah,
Makes sense. So I mean, do you is so with what you're trying to build trying to build the open source community in a way, like why do you feel like that's necessary?
yeah. So regarding GPT, I just a grid partition table, but I'm not sure if how much. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I was gonna ask, like, do you feel like you want to build this open source like community?
Why I want to build? So the way I see the trend going, more and more people on the side start their own project, and the longevity of any project more and more depends on the making them open source and available to everyone. And like I think at some point more and more we're moving to the point where software will be as much as customized, as much as free, and then you will charge based on like from SaaS, basically moving to the model as a service model,
Yeah.
where more and more the mach- computers or machines will write the code for us. We will just
Yeah, remember that it saves a lot of developers' sanity in a way because a lot of people out, a lot of developers who want to create code. It's very you have to put in a lot of their brain power to create it, and that kind of I think this is what's looking to help save that sanity, right?
at this point, yes. I think the main thing is coming the cost of the compute is coming down with also recent advancement in fusion and so forth, where you get this cheaper energy, which you can have more compute, and the cost also intelligence artificial it's coming down, which means with having these two things we can move the things will start even get moving faster than used to be.
I got it. So it's very because I've noticed like the changes in the past 10, 20 years. Before you used to have like larger systems to be and then we had to code manually from the ground up. Now that we have more software tools and more basically what we call the storage capacity and memory, I think is that the reason, and also because now that we've moved to the cloud, I think is that the reason why there are more and more developers coming into the forefront right now? Because before people always called developers as like these nerdy folks, like we just like write work on the computer. Now that more and more like ordinary people are coming in and becoming developers themselves. Is it because of the open source code or what's the thing?
Yeah, I think it's in a way also human nature to over time make things easier. And once things easier, people moving what's the next difficult thing or hard thing to work on, and just starting writing code and running it and your own website is become so much easier with so many tools and what you mentioned, especially also the cloud providers. They have also even the free tier you can start. And when it comes to learning, so many online courses, tutorials, and so forth that people can go and basically anyone who can read and can go just find all these resources. The resources are there and freely available. And another thing, I think like also just moving for the digitalization and as part of the globalization and also COVID, I think it's a bit increase the speed. The technology is not binded to any location anymore. Anywhere there is internet available, they can go and do it. So.
Got it. And so that makes sense. Let's get to know more about you, Sako. Tell me more about where you come from and why have you become someone like what made you come to Silicon Valley and what made you become like this person who wants to work in technology?
So yeah, I'm originally from Azerbaijan. It's 10 million small country in close in the seaside of the Caspian Sea. So I studied my bachelor in computer science, and I was working in the telecommunication and working with our customer. I could see more and more the security was becoming a thing. More and more customers were asking questions related to the security, and I decided to do my master in security. So I moved in 2015 to France to pursue my degree there. And after I graduated, I did some internship over there also in a company like SAP and stuff. And after my graduation, I shortly worked in Germany. And
for SAP?
No, it was Fraunhofer after SAP. I just get cold emails over LinkedIn, or in Silicon Valley, there is early career talent program for a year for graduates. You can pass the interview with big tech companies or startups here, and if all looks good, they will bring you for a year and you work for them. And it worked out. So in 2017, I came to Bay Area, and I worked for the year in Nginx. That's how my open source journey started with Nginx. We had an open source project for we basically for the it was called Engine Mesh, and what it was, we were providing alternate solution to Envoy with Nginx. After a year, company decided to shut down the project. So, and I also felt the need to get a bit more degrees and advance in software engineering. So I did another master degree in software engineering.
Where'd you study?
Huh?
Where'd you study?
At ITU. It was in San Jose.
So in France, or where is this?
No, it was here in San Jose.
San Jose. Oh, San Jose. Okay, I was like, okay. Sometimes the accent kind of gives me an impression that you said in France.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, that it was my third master. So one was in France, one was here, and yeah, that's how I started. Worked for OpenGov and currently working for the company called Gladly. It's customer care platform as a DevOps/security engineer in infrastructure side. And the thing is, when you work as a DevOps and security specialist, you use a lot of open source projects. The biggest one was Kubernetes, which was a game changer. So,
well, tell me about what Kubernetes is, because the average person cannot really understand every level complicated version, everything about the cloud, or even about software engineering. So I just need you to explain what Kubernetes is. I mean, I know personally, but I just want to have you explain.
Yeah, Kubernetes is container orchestration mechanisms. So the thing is, application we used to run first in physical machines, and then we had like next generation was in virtual machines, where you have guest operating system, which you run your application stack. And Kubernetes was the project internally Google was using for years. It was called Borg, which currently they use. So they decided to open source it, and the version they called Kubernetes, which was a disruption because at that time also Docker, prior to that, came with a term like containerization. It means your application and your dependency is a library, you bundle together and you can run anywhere in your machine and or in the production systems. So in a way, Kubernetes enables the orchestration of that you can run all these containers and manage them, and you
So
don't.
what are containers are like sets of programs or what's that?
So container, in a way, you write the manifest, and you don't need a whole operating system to run your application. Basically,
Oh yeah.
it bundles your application code plus its libraries together, and then you can run it in anywhere.
Okay. And so now fast forward to your current venture, GoUp, right?
Yes.
And so you decide to start this hustle, the side, what you call the side hustle.
Yeah.
But what you're trying to do as a visionary is you're trying to make the make open source development more open, I guess, as they say, like more and more open to the wider community. Is that what you're trying to pursue? What's the overall vision of what you're building?
So overall vision in general, I like to generate the value for others. And one of the problems I was seeing, there are so many good engineers, but because it takes so much time to share the knowledge, build a community, it's not about just writing code basically when you start a side gig. So I said, okay, maybe I can come with the platform that can make my job easier to running community, to running, making events, like if any training or blog and all these things. At the same time, it can help for others. Whoever doesn't have any community, but who has something valuable to share, it will be much easier for them. So that was the initial idea. So that's why I did the first webinar myself, but then I asked a couple of folks around, and mostly the target audience was open source creators.
And how long have you been working on this venture?
So as idea, it started in 2017, and I did on the paper, I just write down idea and passed to a couple of folks. I felt they have a good experience and so forth. They could do it, but nobody was convinced, or I wasn't able to convince. So I ended up starting myself in 2018.
So you just did it yourself. You just built the whole platform and everything yourself, or what's the?
Yeah. So because first I was thinking it will be faster. Who has already community, they can go and just do it, and I can be the one who has in here and there the knowledge want to share. I can go and use the platform and share. But it didn't. it didn't work. So I needed just to start myself, and I started first webinar with 2 people joined. I just put in a couple Facebook groups about it, and so at the moment I think we have already completed 50 just webinars and couple networking event and in person and so forth.
So tell me about what the typical what does your platform do? Like, you hold events, you try to bring people to, do you normally just use these events and platforms to bring people to the platform, or do you try to build events through the platform?
So the thing is, we had community in Slack over 2,000 folks and so forth. So most of it wasn't really product we built out there. It was more like learning in person and online meetings, how run and so forth. And just writing playbooks and getting to see how we can make it easier. And we were hiring every 10 session new community manager, and every webinar was led by different speakers.
Usually these webinars consist of just how to do code, how programming works or something like that, or coding, or something like that, or what's
It's
the case?
more advanced, more educated and concept side, because that's the piece becomes over time becomes more and more relevant. Won't use its validity. It's not really for the junior developers, more like senior people and talking about the concept piece. Open source creator,
Uh,
for example, they have
tell me
this.
what. Tell us one example of what that content, what it is.
Okay, so for example, we had a speaker, uh, creator of Envoy, successful load balancer project, Matt Klein. So he came and talked about past, present, and future of the project. So whoever wanted, for example, join, contribute to the product, they could see, okay, a bit about history, how it started, and any mistakes, and what currently they're working on and what they're planning. So it was interesting. Whoever want to join to that project, they could come and ask their question and hear from the creator himself, or if they are willing to go and start a similar project.
Got it. And very much so that it is a very, it just, I mean, how many people are there on the platform at the moment, like using this platform?
So we were using the Slack, and we had on the Slack 2,200, but I realized Slack is not really a good way to working with community, and you have to keep engaging because it's a bit hard for me. And you, as a creator, you don't get much into the visibility of analytics of community and so forth tracking. And it's the free version also after 10,000 messages getting deleted. So it didn't work well. So that's the thing I am working on, bringing something first for as a creator, open source creator, to manage it. For example, you have accounts in Twitter, LinkedIn, and so forth, how you can avoid duplicate efforts, manage it through the CLI or through the simple interface. And then second piece will be plug in the community piece, what you mentioned that.
Got it. And so now so in terms of the future, like in terms of the next couple of years and when you're trying to build this, like, is there any sort of a big vision that you want to do or what you want to pursue, or what's the case with the GoUp in general in the future?
Yeah. So we were doing, since project started, a lot of collaboration. So collaboration is a key for me, not just doing myself or just all together. So you just find the puzzle you want to do and then integrating with other puzzles. So that's the key part of the collaboration. So you have to be clear, hey, this is going to be my contribution. So when it comes to open source project, let's say you have the idea. This is your puzzle, that's the product you want to build, yeah? And you tell, okay, I want to work on just the coding part. Now you need some people gonna use it, some people gonna run the event and do the educative piece of the project and so forth. So and it means you need now value exchange platform. So now in high level, it's more think about you have the point system. It's not just you get the value, you also give back the value. Value. So you contribute, you help others, you get some points, and then same time they help you.
And do you think that is this like more like a good opportunity for even aspiring developers to get into with your product, or do you think it's just going to be like, well, you only want to focus on like high level, senior level program like developers?
Yeah, I think that's the junior developer will be able to come, and that's where the projects you started, they go to acceleration mode. They can come, and you will have, for example, for that project, you can hire from the platform somebody senior level will make a courses trainings to lower the bar to start contributing. And then these people, universities and so forth. In the past, I talked also with some of my professor, and they were also interested because I built also, while I was in the school, project called Job Hacks, helping to track their job application. And I too was, students were using it because especially in school, at school, when you have these small projects, class projects, I think in a way, it's sometimes also going to the waste. Nobody is using or benefiting. So, but open source, why not they you connect and align this with their courses, and they help product to get better.
And so, do you think this could be good? Here's what I was thinking in my own thoughts while you were giving the explanation. Maybe if you could have this appeal to like a lot of CS students in college, computer science students, like whoever wants to contribute to a project rather than, because a lot of these students have to go through internships to be able to get into companies, right? What if they were to give them a chance? And also, it takes internships, and also by the time, and they always been told that you have to create your own project by yourself, right? Now, I mean, I've been through the developer process myself. I tried to learn, and I realized I was not really creative on that front. I'm not a good leader when it comes to development. I only know how to follow like a more competent developer, like saying, okay, this is what the requirements are. You just do that. So do you think that could be something like where, okay, a lot of college students or even CS students and even other people in technical schools, they need some experience, hands-on experience on projects, which they can't find on the internet because there's just different too many different like platforms, too many different things. You just need to find the right platform where okay, you have projects available for you to work on while you try to well at least you can get the experience, you can get the opportunity if you can do if they develop a strong product during college, like working with you, then they could hire them full time. Is there a possibility that you're trying to pursue that part?
Exactly. So working together, the collaboration piece, it's also about the cultural fit. So they can come and join project, but there is also, for example, marketing side of it, yeah, like how you're gonna promote the event and so on. And then you have some students from the MBAs or marketing or finance and stuff. They can come and open source can be the project. They can come together and
Yeah.
collaborate.
Yeah, because I'll tell you the funny thing is when I graduated from grad school, when I got a master's degree in business, when I came back, there was no jobs in business because COVID just ruined the whole thing, and then I was forced into going back into the IT side, which I mean it's the market that told me to go back to the IT side, and I kind of struggled. I felt like I didn't have the right project experience because there's just way too many it's just way too many hurdles and the people they have I think a lot of developers out there they just have a sense of superiority in a way. I'm not gonna like diss any developer. It's just some people said that okay, you have to be like perfect in what you do when you try to be a developer. So do you think there's also like opportunities to like teach like people who want to be developers, but because there's like a lot of barriers at times.
So my philosophy is the best way to learn to get to be involved in the real project and seeing the value generating for others. It's not just following the tutorial and stuff. So all these projects like GOUP, the job hacks, and for example, dependency management, another project I'm working for, the open source track and stuff, all coming from my personal as like I'm trying to solve some problem and I don't find it any relevant. I say, okay, maybe I should just create myself and then thinking, okay, how to share it with the people having the similar problem. So from that perspective, you don't really need to look for a job. I think it's a journey. If you look at your career path, you always have to do something. So open source is a way, it's always there. Nobody can, you go learn the project and you talk to the creator or just you can pull requests, yeah, like create and then they will accept. If not, if you don't like the community that is not fit, you go to some other project. And I'm sure there are enough projects that they need help,
Yeah, especially,
especially in open.
is there like a major hub for a lot of startups who want to get their MVP built? Is that a good? Do you feel like this is a good platform for that?
Exactly. So there are a lot of also in the past folks reaching out telling, okay, we can't pay money, but we are happy to give some shares of the company and get community help. But then need to somebody come and kind of take that commitment, because let's say if it's directly collaboration between the university student and the sub founder, if they don't meet deadline and so forth, what's the process around it? So some organization or need to be the interface between them, and if they don't get done, finding and alternate somebody else could do the job. And but there is quite a bit of need for that. Like
Going
they
forward, I think going forward now that AI, I think there's a lot of many emerging technology trends, including AI, blockchain. I mean, now even though with crypto crashing, there's still more potential for blockchain to come in and Web3 to come in and have these the next stage of applications come to the web. I think it was like AI, blockchain, crypto, metaverse, and all these different technology trends coming in. I mean, there could be the next frontier of technology in general. Do you think I mean, yours is like the place where okay, you want to accommodate different types of trends, right, in technology?
Yeah, and make it something simple, or like for example, the process like that, you have the idea or your early stage founder, and how you can bootstrap and move faster
Yeah,
with less effort, like, and especially with the market now and next year probably we will have limited job opportunities, a lot of companies also shrinking, and you shouldn't, especially it will be also hard for the graduate and so forth. And I think open source is one of the options. They can go first while they're looking for the job they want to do and so forth, or they go and create one.
very cool. And so, where in terms of the future, where do you see it going?
The project itself.
The project itself.
So I think we had done so far. So usually I'm taking time to learn. Yeah, like for the couple of, it was more talking to people, all these open source creators, the community, like talking to understanding better. I think now it's getting more and more viable to put something simple first while we do the events. Also, we'll continue for the next year for building some GPT AI community in the Bay Area and doing some online and so forth to make our job easier. And we are we are strongly binded with also Hacker Dojo, which provides the space and taking a lot of hassles for us. It's a non-profit co-working space. So the plan will be first all these before event, during and after event things to do some automation over there to make it easier for us ourselves, and then for the audience, either will be schools or the senior level people working for the companies want to start their own side gig.
And so now I think we're going to wrap up our this episode. Just want to ask one final question. What advice would you give to people out there and who are trying to build their own, like who are trying to create something big for the future?
I would say first thing, find the thing like you enjoy doing. That's where you call it passion or whatever. It doesn't matter like it's old or new technology. You like doing, and at the same time you generate value for others. You talk, you hear the people's problem or your problem. Most of my nature, the project I work, they come from my own experience. I am trying to solve first my problem, and then thinking, okay, how I can scale and share with others having the same problem. So have a passion what you do. Second, generating value. And if you have these two things, and be nice and bring together people like you that they won't block you, but they will inspire, create some synergy, the cultural fit of people, and you should be fine. And just keep doing it. Like start and incremental add things, but be consistent on adding the feature and stuff, but don't be overambitious, I will say.
Yeah. All right,
Don't
cool.
try to do too many things at one shot.
Sounds good, Sako. Thank you so much for coming on the Next in Time podcast, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the world of open source changes in the next couple of years.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, ST. It was really a pleasure talking to you.